And do you find, we've talked about that, haven't we, the all too easy resort to deficit models to risk and assessment?
Yeah, I mean, when we started developing our framework, which is Mana Mokopuna, and it was basically to be able to monitor the services of oranga tamariki through a Māori lens. And it's been a really exciting journey to know that actually when everyone started discussing what does child-centred mean and trying to work out what that meant from a Māori perspective, and finding out that actually we've always been really child-centred, our culture, and to know that children are considered as being descendants of the atua, the gods, and as a result of it, they're all born with mana. Now, if we see children as having equal mana to us as adults, that just transforms our connections and how we engage with them, either as parents or as professionals, if we view them as having equal mana to us. So I guess that's kind of the starting point with the framework. And then it was trying to look at what gives children mana? What are the areas that give children, prestige and respect and all of those things that come with having mana? And we identified a number of different elements that give mana, and one of them starting with whakapapa, which is your history, because before your children are even born, they've got history. They're not empty vessels. And they then have whanaungatanga or whānau, those relationships, and in order to enhance the mana of Mokopuna, you've got to enhance the mana of the whānau, because whānau give Mokopuna mana.
Yeah.
So, I guess if there's anything that I would like people to really think about is that children are equal to us as adults. Yep. And it doesn't mean that we don't have power as adults, because we're always going to have power simply because we're older. But it's how we use that power when we engage with them. So, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me. And I've, on a personal note, I've taken that thinking into how I engage with my grandson.
Yeah.
So, and I've practiced that way of thinking with my own children. So, and it's fascinating. Like, I watch my grandson, who's almost 2, and I guess you could say that he had everything against him. He had young parents, both of them sort of in the middle of their studies when he was born, and I guess on paper ticked all the boxes you wouldn't want them to tick. But we've raised him, I certainly engage with him as somebody who's my equal, and it's quite incredible to watch him flourish. Yeah, that's amazing.
In fact, the framework that we're talking about, while we use it internally to apply to our monitoring and our assessment of how well SIFs are doing in treatment of children in particular, it's actually a framework that, I wouldn't be so presumptuous to say this publicly, but it's a framework that could be equally used for health, the way we monitor what health's doing. Just those 6 elements of the framework, word by word.
Yeah, well, it's whakapapa, whanaungatanga, aroha, kaitiakitanga, rangatiratanga, and mātauranga.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
So
no,
now
it's
Te
not-
Reo Pākehā for our American and Canadian audience.
Yes. So it's the history, and I mean, history is very important for Indigenous people. So where are we from? Who is our whānau? Who is our family? And family are the ones that give children love.
Aroha.
Yeah. I mean, that's the natural place that children receive love from, aroha. And kaitiakitanga is really about safety, a safe environment that children navigate, so ensuring that they've got safe environments. Rangatiratanga is about children having a voice, children having a voice about decisions that impact on them. And mātauranga is about them having the knowledge both in the Western world and in the Māori world, in the Indigenous world. They need both sets of knowledge, not just one. So that's the framework, and I guess regardless of what age the child's at, if you apply those principles in your practice with them, we feel strongly that it would really transform how you engage. It would mean that you wouldn't let the child down.
Yeah.
Because you think, well, who's going to know? Well, if you see them as having equal mana to someone like the commissioner, you wouldn't want to let them down. So, Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and those principles have helped us a lot, helped reframed the way I approach things, and I think they'd be an interesting discussion starter for health professionals dealing with children who are involved in drug and alcohol issues. I mean, I used to see it in the youth court. We always, although the youth court really started at age 14, sometimes 12,
Yeah.
so many of that small group that we saw in the youth court had drug and alcohol issues, and it usually started way earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would have said a common age was 10 or 11,
Yeah.
maybe earlier, but the reported starting age of 10 or 11 made me realise the crucial work, the work that's really effective, has got to be way earlier than 14, 15, 16 in the youth court. We're talking 10 and 11 and probably 9, 8, 7.
Yeah.
Now, that's particularly demanding and challenging work to hold in tension the sort of things that Arfina talked about. But nothing less is, I think, something we should settle for, nothing less.
Yeah.
We've got to, really our best practice has got to be for arguing with the youngest children.
I agree.
And it's the place we can most shortcut things and most slip back into an adult dominated approach. So I guess both there's a lens of our adult spectacles coming off and our adult centric approach coming off, but also our cultural centric approach coming off as Pākehā dealing with Māori.
Beautiful.